Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys like the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
What's up, guys? Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert, to your own research. Okay, so today I wanted to discuss some altcoin reversal patterns. I did a video on this before. You can check out in the education section, but I'll go over them again just because this is what we're going to be looking for. Obviously, altcoins are in the dust, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're looking for a reversal. So this is Phantom on the daily, and we'll just go and do a replay. Obviously, in May, we saw massive market nukage for this coin. Obviously, this like overall chart just looks terrible, right? I mean, you can't really deny this looks like a overall bear market. And you see lower highs, lower lows all the way across the board. And obviously, we all know what happens next in July and August. This was an accumulation. And I think it's really important to start studying some bottom patterns, So you'll see like double bottoms. You'll see like a cup and handle. You'll see a V-shaped reversal. And then you'll see accumulation bottom. These are all typical patterns that you should look and study because this is all what you are going to see over the next few weeks. This would be more of a rounded bottom, in my opinion. And these typically are characterized just obviously with the name. It's a rounded bottom. So what are we looking for here? We are looking for, obviously, this was a market nukage where we saw a big, nasty red candle, several candles. And then we see some chop where price was making like these lower highs over here at 38 cents. And eventually we see price breaking down. Price, everybody was waiting for it to fill out this inefficiency, myself included. I thought that, we'd see like something like this. But price always takes longer than you think it does to kind of accumulate and to make a move. And another note is that this took a really long time to overall kind of accumulate, but this in fact was the bottom. Obviously, as I said, a rounded bottom reversal. This is what you're really looking for, is just kind of a rounded bottom. This is more grinding price action. So you see a lot of volatility at the start, which is very characteristic of most bottoms. So this is going to be very similar for nearly all of these patterns, where you see like the big market drop, and then you see like lots of volatility, and then you see like either a slow grind down or you just see it chop like slowly. What I'm trying to say is that after the initial stages, you see a lot less volatility, typically speaking. And when you are in these situations where price is nuking lower, like for instance, I'm sure I had some tweets back in July when I'm like, Jesus, this looks terrible. Like this looks like it's going to make another leg down. And when sentiment is truly bearish, that's when it's really time to buy. And I know it's so easy to say that now versus in practice, but when when you really are experiencing these market nukage situations, and when you start to see sentiment be very terrible, that is when it's really easy. It's best to buy. It's not easy by any means. Everybody's looking for another leg down, but it really depends on your strategy as well. Like, for me, I just like dollar cost average in. I am more swing trading these types of situations, although there is a lot of money that you can be made by scalping. But this is one example of a sort of reversal for Phantom, just as a kind of a rounded bottom. You can see that price has a lot of volatility at the start, and then the less volatility later on. Volume starts to die down as well, and these patterns usually they occur in many situations, but you really want to look for less volatility later on. And you can tell that this doesn't really need huge buy volume either. That's the important thing to note on this way up. You will need significant buy volume when it breaks big levels of resistance, similar to this area, like 38 cents. You can start to see volume start to pick up, but while it's accumulating, you generally don't see as much volume on the later stages of it because all the volatility is at this beginning part, and most of the sellers are getting just destroyed, buyers and sellers in these environments. So generally speaking, as I said, this is a rounded bottom reversal. Let me think of, okay, so I wanted to also look at DOT. DOT is another example of a altcoin bottom that you will look at. And I might have already had this chart, and I discuss this chart often because this is a very standard accumulation type of pattern where price really doesn't do anything over the course of several months. The context of this chart is that DOT was coming off like a huge move earlier in the summer of 2020. This was kind of like following like the overall like DeFi summer time of good altcoin moves, and this right here is characterized as just an overall choppy price action. Again, it fell from $7 to $3, so 50% drop. And then large chopping type of pattern where it just really doesn't, it just stays within this range for quite some time. Like, if you bought it back in September around $5 and you waited a few more months later in December, it would still be at $5 or $5.50 or whatever. So not really much moves, but this is an accumulation pattern where price just chops, equal highs, equal lows, and this is kind of what I'm expecting for Bitcoin, actually, between 30 and 60K, just a larger range. This type of pattern, you basically just buy and hold it. You aren't looking for really quick trades. These aren't very volatile. These like very low volume. This type of trade, you just basically just sit. Now, it's also important to note though that this pattern is good in the USD pair in a neutral environment. But if Bitcoin is really going very strongly, then this pattern really actually sucks. And I say that because the dot BTC pair. So take a look at this dot USD pair. This doesn't really do anything, right? It's moving from 350 to 550 over the course of several months. Now, if you look at the dot Bitcoin pair during the same time period, what did it do? It went to like zero. Not zero, but you know what I mean. Like, it fucking nuked. So what this means is that you would have been way better off holding Bitcoin instead of DOT during this time. And I remember this because I was holding some DOT at the time, and I was like, man, this really sucks. Like, should have just been holding Bitcoin. And this was the fall of 2020 where Bitcoin is really starting to move strong from it was like 10 to like 30K or something like that. Basically, it was on this move. So whenever you see your alt Bitcoin pair go down, that means that you would have been better off holding Bitcoin instead of your altcoin. And that's usually true when Bitcoin is moving very hard to the upside and to the downside. So for instance, what are we looking at now? So like, as I said, to the downside, like Bitcoin is moving down. So obviously dot BTC will also go down. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that, this accumulation pattern is what you want to look for as well. This is another type of pattern that you want to look for. It's just like this type of ranging price action. It looks different than the rounded bottom from before. I also want to tell you guys too that these accumulation bottoms, they generally start after a big market nuke. So like, you generally just don't see like, prices grind all the way down and then hit occasionally you do. But what I'm trying to say is that you generally see like one final shakeout and then the accumulation bottom starts. So this is characterized by like the 6K to 3K level on Bitcoin. You really needed that final shakeout before like an accumulation bottom really began. And it's very similar as well for so like another example here. So we have this big May shakeout followed by a choppy consolidation period. Everyone thought it was maybe the bottom in June, but nope, we needed one last shakeout here before the true kind of accumulation period starts. And obviously it nuked even lower, but yeah, you generally need like kind of one shakeout, not from the initial big shakeout, before like the true accumulation starts. So I guess what I'm trying to say too is that we're seeing this big, market nukage from like, I mean, DOT was a little bit of a bad example because this was already downtrending before Bitcoin nukes lower. Let's look a little bit at something like FTM again, where you see obviously this nasty move down from 330 to 175, so it goes 50% down, and you'll generally see some sort of like choppy period now, and then I wouldn't be surprised at all to see one last final shakeout to like, yeah, I don't know, 120 or something like that, and then a ranging consolidation period. That's kind of what I'm expecting. Let's look at MATIC and then YFI. MATIC is a good example of a V-shaped reversal, and it's also important to understand the context of it though. So back in May, MATIC had a V-shaped reversal. And what I mean by that is that it's a V-shape. It's very self-explanatory. So obviously we saw the market nukage in May, followed by like more mass destruction of this coin, followed by buyers stepping in and this reversing nearly almost the entire move. So it goes from 75 cents all the way back up to 250, and then it ended its run and went back lower significantly. So V-shaped bottoms are generally not very sustainable in these situations. It depends on the context, it depends on the coin, it depends on the environment, but generally speaking, when you see a market nuke like this in May, followed by a V-shaped reversal, this is not very sustainable. And usually it'll either hit like a double top, which is kind of what it did, or it's like a lower high and then go lower. So this is like usually a good time to de-risk your coins if you are fortunate enough to buy a coin such as MATIC, or it's also a good opportunity to take a trade too for very strong coins. How you identify these types of coins that make V-shaped reversals, there are very few of them in crypto, because usually, the market is correlated, and crypto coins, like, they're all going to dump simultaneously. But if you see a coin that's really doing very strongly, so for right now, like Atom is very strong. Cosmos is a very strong coin. You see it being green in like an overall red environment. That is a good candidate for V-shaped reversal because dips are getting bought up and you see price kind of doing pretty well. So MATIC in this context of May was very strong. Obviously, it had a V-shaped reversal, and then what happened after was price just continued to nuke lower. So this is like what happened after. What I'm trying to say is the V-shaped reversal here in this situation was not sustainable, and price ended up going lower. It retraced the entire move and even more so, down to 65 cents. But how you could trade this, if you are in a coin that has a V-shaped reversal potential, again, there are not very many of them. You would just basically try to knife catch. And these types of trades are actually quite risky. So if you don't know what you're doing, then I would not probably try these. But yeah, you're just basically looking for the very strong coins like Cosmos or something like, or KNC, and then looking for some sort of lower high, and then you would sell. Another example of this would be like YFI. YFI had a very famous V-shaped reversal as well. And I remember that was like a pretty fun time because crypto Twitter actually somewhat got behind each other, and like we all kind of rallied to liquidate someone. Like there was like, I don't know, like a short at like 10 or this is MATIC still. Sorry. There it is. Yeah, no. Yeah, okay. No, not 2020. This is wait, where was it? Yeah, okay. So yeah, it was the end of 2020. Okay, so this is a V-shaped reversal too. And still like one of the highest volume days I remember for this chart. There was like a seller or something like that at like like 10,000 or 12,000 or something like that, and like everybody like bought to liquidate this guy, poor guy. This is a V-shaped reversal too. As I said, usually you need like one final shakeout, but this was different. This was just constant selling all the way down and then a V-shaped reversal. This is, as I said, this is a different context than MATIC because MATIC happened after like right after a big market nuke. So you saw like a big market nuke for MATIC and then like a V-shaped reversal and then like lower. Whereas this is just like, you know, you have distribution and then you're just constantly selling. This is like a slow grind down. And then it V-shape reverses. This is a different context. Anyways, this is just an example of one. As I said, they are not very common in altcoins, alt USD pairs, generally speaking. There are many other types of patterns that you can look for as well. As I said, double bottoms, you look for, you know, V-shaped reversals, you look for just accumulation. I'm basically expecting many of these charts to go ahead and you know, you can really just compare any of these charts to just go back to look at the May price action. That's going to give you the most recent example. But if you also want to look at like older charts too, like you can find these types of patterns across every type of chart. So here's an older coin, Tezos. What is this right here? This is an accumulation. You can already see it. Accumulation bottom here, right? Price just sits in a range between September to January and just doesn't do anything. This right here, this is like a V-shaped reversal. This is obviously the infamous March 2020 nuke. And generally speaking, Bitcoin does not do the V-shaped reversals, but it did that day. If you look, you know, and this is a rounded bottom reversal. So, you know, as I said, you can really look to see different types of patterns and charts. You can go look at some older coins too, like, I don't know, ZIL. ZIL's older, a little older. It's not OG old by any means, but this is the futures. Let's take a look at ZIL. See if we can find some patterns here. This is an older coin, as I said. Older, relatively speaking. So this was the bear market. For people bitching now, 2018 and 2019 was fucking terrible for altcoins. It was bad. It was just constant selling. What we saw was obviously a V-shaped reversal in March, and until that time it was just a prolonged bear market. This was arguably a kind of a accumulation type of pattern, but at the end of in a heavy bear market, it's hard to see if it's accumulation or just like distribution. I got fucked so many times in these situations because I thought this was accumulation, but it really wasn't. V-shaped reversal here, and this type of pattern is more like a, you know, kind of a, this is like kind of accumulation here. And it's also important to understand the principles of some of these patterns too. Like generally speaking, the longer that something accumulates, the more explosive the move. So because this only accumulated for about a month, therefore the preceding move was not super strong. Whereas if something chops around for many months on end, see Bitcoin in 2020, that's when you really see very, very strong moves. Here's a good example of accumulation. Or this is kind of like a bull flag kind of accumulation. This was very standard in this was during the last true alt season we had, I think, in January. But yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, like, you know, every type of reversal is different. Every type of pattern is different. Every type of context for the market environment is different. But you're really just looking for some sort of like pattern. And this, to me, I thought this was accumulation. Like now, this is just a big range between 13 cents and 6 cents. But clearly, I'm wrong. And we just generally need to find a tighter range to work with. That's another thing to understand too with accumulation, is it's not working with a large range usually. Generally, after the big shakeout, you're looking for like pretty thin range for the and lower volatility. In any event, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please be safe. I do believe that there could be one last shakeout before an accumulation period starts. There are a lot of different ways you can play this, though, so just be patient. Depends on your strategy. I'm just dollar cost average swing trading near, but that's just me. Good luck.